Hello. Well, since my last stream was like 3 or 4 days ago, right? And venture to the final chapter of DGS1, aka The Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Yeah, a couple of things with the last, well, one thing with the last chapter. I learned that Soseki Natsume is a real person who really existed, and that the character in this video game was based off the real human, who was for a long time found on the back of the 1,000 yen note. Yeah, I had a lot of fun reading about that, and I don't know, I like how Shutakumi has been. I mean, it's something that I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't just found out ambiently, but I think that sort of thing is really cool. Yeah, I think that's part of what... Ow, my ears! I think that's part of what makes this game so good, is the slight hints of historical relevance. I mean, it's not, like, accurate, obviously. It's just a character, but... yeah, like, this guy, Soseki Natsume, he was a real Japanese author, English student who was shipped off to England to study, and he was absorbed in books all the time and developed strange superstitions and such. Yeah, it's a thing. But something else that's a thing is me playing the next chapter. And I get to listen to another intro, so... Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. As for my expectations of this case... Strongheart's got to play a big role, right? It doesn't make sense to have him something that we're both invested in. The protagonist and Sherlock Holmes. Sorry. So that's one thing. I think we're going to see Gina Lestrade again, because she only appeared once and she has her own theme and is like a fairly... Seems like she's going to be a fleshed out character. So yeah, I think we're going to see Gina Lestrade again somehow. As for other stuff, we're probably going to see that dude that we saw, the other tenant of Garadub, the weird dude, those characters. What else? Reference Aleks. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a 2-day thing. I feel like it's going to be, right? Because otherwise, when do we see Barak Van Zykes outside the courtroom? You know? And I think also there's going to be more Gregson, because Gregson is like the detective of this game. Okay, and we might even get to go to Scotland Yard, maybe? We shall see. Let's watch the intro. Oh yeah, the dog.
It's coming! Jones's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited breathlessly in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began... "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
Oh yeah, I have to remember my voices now. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Okay. For context, we now have been living alongside Sholmes and Iris Wilson for 2 months. It's no longer even winter. 15th of April, Naruhodo's legal consultancy. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. This room has changed. We have a little table, books, and a little note. How do I get rid of the... There's a key to get rid of the thing, isn't there? Review scene? No. I swear there was a button to get rid of the text box, like they have in other games. Am I just stupid? Review scene. History. Okay. Sure, whatever. I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. What else have we got in this room then? This is probably my desk and this is probably her desk. This desk is a mess. We got the Daruma doll that we brought with us. Some scales. A little kettle on the stove thing. Mop. What we use the mop for? It's just wooden floorboards. By shit. I don't know what that. Cheese? Don't know. Something up there. Room is interesting. The bucket. There's a spade and a step ladder. Susato-san. Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? See, what case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us some breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. This is Kazuma's theme, right? His second. Whenever I wear it, I feel as though it gives me strength. Through Kazuma. I absolutely can't be without it, especially when I'm at a critical point in a trial. But just the other day I noticed you wearing it when we went to visit that park. Sometimes I forget to take it off. Is that different text when I examine it this time? These are the scales of justice. They're a symbol of defense, aren't they? They should be weighed to one or to the other side, right? That spade has been in here since we started renting the place. Oh, that's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. I don't want to dig a hole for myself, so... No, that's a ladder! No, it's a step ladder. No! You're meant to do the thing, guys! I guess they can't really do the thing, because this one isn't a step ladder, it's an actual ladder. So they can't argue. It's got no steps, you know? It's got rungs. But I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, would you like some tea, Naruhodo-san? Thank you, Susato-san, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes for me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is a paradise for a true tea lover. Green tea is such a wonderful accompaniment to the British tea cakes, don't you think? We've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. You could tidy up once in a while. Susato-san, I always say, making a mess is a small sacrifice to pay for being able to further your studies. And time spent tidying up is time you can't devote to the same cause. And time spent on ridiculous arguments is time that could be better spent on some simple housework. She wins, but I'm supposed to be the lawyer here. Ah, this must be the telegram. Let's see. Oh, I didn't want to examine this yet. No. No, you mustn't look at that. Not under any circumstances. All right, I won't. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. You can be very mischievous at times. Then put the telegram away if you don't want people looking at it. No, nothing about the garlic/onion. Why did I call this garlic last time? This is clearly onions. Okay. Okay. We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well. And the anemones too. It's a wonderful invention, isn't it? The sea behind glass inside your room. Another example of Great Britain's greatness. Having to clean it out and change the water isn't so great though, is it? You know, I've never seen inside your room there, Susato-san. I've never even peeped inside. I should think so too. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Whatever you say, young maiden. Already done that. Wait, did I present it? Oh yeah, I did. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. sorry, but you're not going to get away with that.
Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram.
That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me that it was nothing.
I promise that I will tell you about it at some point.
Alright, I understand. That one has to be relevant to this case, right? As for Kazuma's mission, I think that might be one of those things that doesn't get fully explained until the second game. I don't know, I just have a feeling. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he?
Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal.
Oh, maybe that's what the telegram is? That the Reaper of the Bailey's curse has done its thing? Nah, she would say about that, no?
Which would mean that he should have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away.
A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo-san?
I was just wondering, what might have become of Soseki-san if he had stayed in London? That's all.
You mean, as regards Lord Van Zykes, the Reaper?
Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that Reaper. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? I bet that's why part of why he quit is just too much media attention, and he's just like, oh fuck this, I'm so tired of being called a bloody Reaper. Oh, that no.
If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself.
Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants.
No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zykes hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter.
Oh.
Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems.
Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spate of trials then. Ugh, just my luck. Yeah, there's something behind that. I'm trying to think, like, I think that the Crown Prosecution... Well, of course the Crown Prosecution Service is under the direction of Strongheart, right? And so, you know, the trial lawyers are probably, like, you know, puppeted about a bit. As for Strongheart himself, it's pretty clear that, like, you know, the law is a means to an end to him. For words. A means to an end for him. There you go.
I wonder if luck doesn't come into it.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, what was that?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Yeah, there's a reason for it, it's not just luck.
The furniture we've moved in recently, this place is starting to feel like a real office.
I call it a consultancy, but clients aren't exactly beating down the door. The home and office of the world-famous great detective and his young companion Iris. It seems people from all over the globe come to engage in his consultative detective services. Where's my bed? Is it in the... Where is my bed? Maybe it's behind this dividing wall. There's some plants behind, next to Susato's room, so maybe... Not sure. I think it would be appropriate if, like, never in the entire 2 games do you see inside Susato's room. I think that would be appropriate. It's just, like, a thing that's there. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Sholmes. That's what I call music. Oh yes, that's right.
Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris.
Iris.
What is it, Bruno?
What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled.
Oh, yes. You noticed that, did you? Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems.
There we go. Oh, Mr. Naruto. Mr. Naruhodo. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Good morning. Mr. Naruhodo. A good morning to die, perhaps. Something happened, Mr. Sholmes. No, I just don't have any work. I just want to sit on my chair and smoke, well, inject morphine and cocaine. All I want. You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical... there we go. Mr. Naruhodo. My analytical dead. The world is dead. Damn this blanched existence. That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me. It's not too much trouble.
Meow.
Oh look, it's Wagahai.
Good morning, boy. Meow.
That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did it get there?
Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris.
Mr. Naruhodo, it would indeed be a fine day to die. Ah, I knew something looked different. Oh, the analyzer is gone. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Examine the fireplace, it said. The fire's burning comfortingly in the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to a Japanese hibachi somehow.
Oh, look at that photographic print of a lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be? Yes, it must be. It's the woman. Oh, how exciting.
Is that supposed to mean something to me? Mary Morstan? Another Sherlock Holmes story that I haven't read? I really want to read those. Or listen to an audiobook because I can't be asked. These are all mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. These are all mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from Le Carnival would be on display here.
A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection!
It looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me, rather like what's on my own shelves.
Well, you really ought to learn to keep your things in order, Mr. Naruhodo.
No favoritism there at all. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. This is where Iris notes down ideas, isn't it? Let's see, what does it say today? Ah, the Boscombe Valley Mystery.
Oh, how intriguing! It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my! I wonder what a fantastic tale awaits us.
Susato-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most unsavory crime you can imagine. Iris's beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of one of her special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain.
The English pastime of tea has many similarities with our own tea ceremony customs, don't you think? It's the idea of hospitality behind it. That's the essence of tea.
Come to think of it, I haven't seen Iris doing much writing recently. There's paper already set up in the typewriter, look, as if she's about to start. Ah, I finally come to terms with what a typewriter is. I didn't need to make some strange comment about this newfangled technology.
That reminds me, when I mentioned that Iris was in the process of writing a full-fledged novel, Mr. Natsume was most impressed.
Ah yes, Mr. Natsume.
That's what I'll be doing too once I'm back in Japan, he said, though through tightly clenched fists and teeth.
Oh, because she's tan and he's like not tan. And yet she's already wrote like so much. That's a charming little white shelf, and it's full of charming little bottles too. But the contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems.
Science is the future, Mr. Naruhodo. You can't deny it. I'm saving my money so that I can buy some chemistry apparatus as well.
Law, chemistry, takedown throws, what diverse skills you boast, Miss Susato.
As useful as they are, I'm not sure that my throwing skills are worthy of inclusion in that list.
Is this just paper in these scrolls, or are they like posters or wallpaper? I can't see the... Maybe this map is that map with the thing with the sign, the Abdullah Singh, Muhammad Khan, Dostak Bar, and Jonathan Small on it. Maybe. Ah yes, the letters V and R are inscribed on the wall, in bullet holes. Isn't it the initials of the Queen or something? Victoria. Well, it wasn't the House of Windsor, it was the House of... I don't know.
Isn't it? It's so delightful to see it in the flesh, having read about it in the stories. It was so inspiring. I fired 100 arrows into my own wall at home to make the character of Su, or Susato, you know?
Super? Super? But perhaps there are some things the great detective does that you don't need to copy. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
Oh, it's such a charmingly untidy collection of paraphernalia, isn't it?
It looks just messy to me, like my desk.
But you, Mr. Naruhodo, must learn to tidy up after yourself.
No favoritism there, then. Don't examine the desk, because that will trigger something. Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. Isn't that enormous... Oh, fuck. I just did the one thing I said not to do. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it?
We can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruhodo. Why, next time we're invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite.
That's scarily plausible, actually. Dun, 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 dun. No. No. The chairs, the books, this thing. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion? So Natsume's cat seems to have settled into his new home then.
Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy.
To Naruhodo. It would appear his previous owner is completely forgotten. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews as empty as the hearts of the muses.
If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place.
I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience.
And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Ow.
Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from?
Oh, you noticed? You are observant, Rono. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. It's a gun that makes cat flaps appear.
What is that?
I call it The cat flapper mat. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats. That's right. I make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, so you see.
Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap, rather than making a machine to make the cat flap?
Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris.
She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl.
Hehehe.
Is that it? Really? No? Excuse me? Game. Video game. Video game. Where's Sholmes? Sholmes is not here. Okay, fine. Fine. I'll try again. Why is this still here? What? What? Oh, there's Sholmes. That's rather apt for me to not think of that. Mr. Sholmes, could I ask for your opinion about this, Mr. Naruhodo? Blah, blah, blah. You lure me to raise my languid head with the promise of some mental exaltation. Yet in my morbid depression, I am confronted with the most mundane of problems. Oh. My mind finds greater stimulation in the unforgiving monotony, or than in your miserable offering. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. Always glad to help. Oh, my head weighs heavy on my shoulders. Dun, dun, ga, dun. Wanting to die. The missing machine.
Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today.
Ah, well done, Miss Usato. Your observational skills do you credit.
Oh no, Mr. Sholmes, they pale into insignificance when compared to yours.
You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you?
You mean Great Hurley's great analytoscope? That's at Windy Banks now.
Sorry, it's at Windy Bank.
No, Windy Banks, the pawnbrokery. Pawn? What?
You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly.
But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed that what little income I have to you.
Dear madam, things are far from desperate.
But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate?
Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. Mr. Naruhodo, It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, what's to understand exactly? You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? Mr. Naruhodo, it used to be the case that in my hands this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its mellissonant tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
For hours I have bowed, for days even. Even through the night I have endeavoured, but to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion.
No, that's too posh.
Mr. Naruhodo. No more recitals of unbridled emotion.
Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley?
Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, there. Why is this happening to me?
No, that's too Edgeworth. It's too Edgeworth.
Mr. Naruhodo, let us engage the art of deduction. If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left, for pity's sake? What is left?
Deduction, perhaps. Isn't that what you're known for? What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works?
Mr. Naruhodo, to the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks.
Banks?
Disengage in the art of deduction. No. On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week.
And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us.
So assets are really like flipped all the time. I guess that makes sense. That like that's one way in which people have gotten richer is like we don't literally flip our assets on a weekly basis just to have spending money.
Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London.
And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise.
Oh, how ingenious! So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at the Winnie Banks, you see? At Winnie Banks, you see?
A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain?
Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? Don't you, Hurley?
What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Mr. Narrowhold.
Meow. Oh, what was that?
Wagahai. The sound dude made that noise painstakingly. I was reading the bonus thing that some dude on the team literally brought in an expensive violin just for them to fuck about with it to make that noise. Mr. Naruhodo, what was that?
Oh no! Wagahai's tangled up in your violin. I think he thinks it's a toy.
No! What's he doing to it?
Oh dear, Mr. Sholmes' precious violin.
Disengage. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. The cat is a more accomplished musician than I now.
Mr. Sholmes is really in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley?
Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. No! Oh! I didn't even... That was literally just a random click and it worked. So this is the violin, is it? No, it's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. That is how many pounds? 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds, and £4 7 bob. So like £4.5 and a shilling. Or how many of the other thing is that? What's the other coin again? It's guinea. That a round number of guineas? Yeah, it's wait, no, it's not. £1 and 1 shilling. So this is £4. No. That's such a weird number. 55 shillings. How honourable of you. And until today it had been my faithful companion in every great Paganini inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music, to tolerate this blanched existence? No! There is none! Mr. Naruhodo.
Mr. Sholmes?
What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. The dull routine of existence. They're really pulling out the sign of 4 quotes in this scene.
Well, it's about the violin. Looks very different to normal, don't you think?
Hmm? What do you mean, Miss Susato?
Oh, Susie's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different.
Oh, Gina Lestrade has swapped it out, I bet. Or someone else.
And that's not...
Oh, wrong voice.
And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before.
Wait, it's not even the right size, is it?
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, this is intriguing. What's this?
I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't the violin at all.
Oops.
Then what?
I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola.
What? What?
Falling over.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you all right?
You're right. You are quite right. Mr. Susato. The art of deduction. Oh, let us engage. You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then.
Ah, I say what must have happened.
You do, Iris.
This is just a simple mix-up.
Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her.
Bum 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 ba da ba da. Dun, dun, da, 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 da.
Did I not examine it before the cat thing? Oh, I don't know.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
I've only heard this tune like 3 times. It's just so jumpy. Inappropriate. It's an appropriate theme. Dun, 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 dun. Mix up. What did you mean by a mix up, Iris?
Well, you see, this viola I mean, was at Windy Banks until last week. At the pawnbroker's.
Not Mr. Sholmes's beloved musical partner.
Ah, there is a proverb from the East which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel.
Yes, indeed.
So you sent your beloved's violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth.
Oh, what a wonderful idea.
Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument.
Oh, okay, I see. So you have your assets and you swap between them. And the pawnbroker is literally basically acting as sort of a bank, and it's... Wow, that's crazy. Is that real? I never knew that. I always thought pawnbrokers have always been the same. They're just, you know, traders.
But it would appear Mr. Windibank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre.
No. Yeah, it's timbre, right? Timbre? It's certainly not timbre.
Timbre.
Yes.
But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. Oh, timbre and timbre. Ah ha ha.
No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Oh yeah, because he was... yeah.
Sure, a fine state of affairs this is. And why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fill you every time.
But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbrokery as an extremely secure vault.
No comment?
Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Dilly-dallying will get you nowhere.
Sorry.
Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect, pressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced?
We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes?
Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished eating my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to fresh your egg ever more obtusely. All right, say no more. Let's go then.
Don't worry, Bruno. I'd be happy to heat it up again. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later.
Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Dun, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Wait. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Mr. Naruhodo.
This is going to have changed.
I must stop you there, Mr. Naruhodo. Unofficial I may be, but I am nevertheless a professional. I couldn't examine such a humdrum item for anything less than £5.
Oh, no, I didn't really want you to examine it. I just wanted to ask if...
My dear fellow, as a professional consulting detective, I couldn't possibly venture an opinion for anything less than £5.
Are you perhaps hoping to purchase a new telescope in the near future, Mr. Sholmes?
Indeed I am. As you know, it has long been an ambition of mine to discover a new star and name it for myself.
Because your earthly stardom isn't enough.
Let us go!
Let us go everywhere but where we are supposed to go. This is actual Susato thing.
What to do? Can it really be that we've been in Great Britain for 2 months already?
Yes, it's gone by in the flash, hasn't it?
But then what an English gentleman
You trailed off there, Susato-san.
I'm so sorry. When I thought it through, I realized it's not at all true, actually.
Wow.
I simply don't feel that any Britishness has really rubbed off on you.
Nor you, to be honest.
Well, that's obviously because...
Yes, I know, without a doubt. It's your kimono. It most certainly stands out.
I do adore the attire of English ladies. It's quite delightful. But somehow, I just don't feel ready to abandon my Japanese dress just yet.
I wonder how Susato-san would look in Western clothes. That would be interesting to see. Wait, is the thingy there? Yes.
Get on, girl.
It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this.
Oh, I know! To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Really? That's it? Nothing more, nothing less? Store for rent. Excuse me, are you not supposed to be to let? Store? Is to let a new thing? Is it used to be for rent? Okay. Look at all the different things in the window of this shop.
Ah, that's Windybank's, the pawnbrokers.
It looks much smarter than the pawnbrokers in Japan, doesn't it?
Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally.
Reminds me of tearfully parting with my favourite fountain pen. I felt so miserable.
It doesn't kill us, makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo.
We've never been in here in our 2 months. Okay. Wow. There's lots of clocks, which makes sense. We've got hats. Hats and clocks. A calendar. There's an old-fashioned calendar thingy. Date. Mabob. Some good old-fashioned dolls. Bird cage. No idea what this is. Shoes. Robes. What have we got? Some paper, lettery things, hats, lamp, candles, sign. The Thinker! Now that's a reference. So this is a British pawnbrokery.
Oh my! There are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes upon before.
Ah, Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scan you. I get the impression you enjoy places like this.
Oh yes! I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me.
My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes!
We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure.
And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business, too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. The pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank. Windybank. Windybank.
Ah, Mr. Sholmes, welcome back. Ah, Mr. Sholmes,
There you go. I like that.
did you hear that brazen welcome?
Well, yes, we are potential customers, after all.
We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot.
Mr. Windybank, about this.
let me see.
I literally just had his voice right and now I've ruined it.
Let me see.
To have an airy voice.
I'll give you tuppence for it.
No, I don't want to pawn it.
What are you doing, my dear fellows? We are not here to browse for interesting curios. We have come to teach this broker a lesson.
Oh, there are just so many fascinating items.
It looks as though we'll have to talk to Mr. Windybank first before you can explore in here, Mr. Sato. Okay. Why do I do this to myself? Oh. I just want to see the dialogue. I need a drink. Ah. I wonder, could I ask you something?
Ah, a gentleman from the east.
No.
A gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that stable suit. I suppose I could offer you sixpence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull.
Sorry.
Aha! But for your splendid attire, ma'am, 5 guineas, no less. The colours are exquisite, the design exotic, Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say.
Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting.
Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokers are used rather like banks here in London.
Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilise the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned.
No, I don't want to do that voice. It's so default.
But what happens if they don't pay you the money?
Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me.
So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed, then?
That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity. One should never take one's demise so casually.
Says you. Says the man who is telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning.
And let us not forget that I have already helped you take your measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs.
Oh, what sort of measures?
I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windybank has installed here in his shop. I call it the red-handed recorder.
Instead of the red taped recorder? I don't get it.
Is that not so, Mr. Windybank? Mr. Windybank.
What was that deep sigh about?
Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybank. The colour of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. Mr. Windybank.
A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes.
Ow.
Oh, I am so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. I shall have to take my own life. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Ah, yes. It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry. As I...
No.
Oh, as I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin, and I heard, here it is. You did. And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine.
Phew. His voice was so good when I started doing it. Oh man.
It would appear the fight is over.
I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybank. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Sholmes without that questionable disposition, now would you? Ha ha! I do believe you may be right, sir. Ha 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 ha! It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past.
Oh, peculiar items.
In the extreme, ma'am. For example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Sholmes, or some such.
Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I have yet to read, you mean?
Forgive me.
Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. I must know more. Tell me everything.
Wow, Susato-san is really fired up now.
Is there really an unpublished story on this very roof?
Well, one day the gentleman here brought an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windybank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Not a farthing more. It houses something of great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sholmes. Oh, I beg your pardon. A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes's latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom.
Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Well, I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this.
I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings, securely. Of course, sir. Of course. They're all safe and sound with me. I assure you, on my life.
It's all very strange. What on earth is a red-handed recorder?
Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are just two below the ceiling.
I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device.
Very astute. It is indeed a camera, furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I can show you.
That catches thieves red-handed if they come at that time. Okay. So, there's going to be a robbery case. I see.
Ah, yes. A print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness.
Really? That's extraordinary.
Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it, look.
So it's just got a long exposure on the camera. Excuse me.
So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed.
How long have I been going? I've been going for 1 hour 20. Okay.
But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals?
Indeed, as you say, my dear madam.
Then what if the incident were to occur in between those times?
One could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate. Oh, I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day.
Yeah, true.
I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery. No, my dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank.
Ah.
Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop,
Yeah, like that. That's better.
Perhaps this might mark the... No. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, This would be the only answer. Answer.
I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt.
Fear not.
Sorry.
I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be armed.
That's not really what I meant.
Good day to you then, Mr. Windybank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, now we can explore at last.
I think I'll leave it at that for this stream. That was a relatively nothing stream. Like, nothing has happened yet. But I'm gonna leave it there, just because I'm getting tired already, even though it's only 10. Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure, like literally 5 seconds ago, I said I would carry on, but no, I can't be bothered right now. I'm gonna overwrite. I like this little boat. I like these scenes where it's just sort of a nothingy scene, so long as it doesn't overstay its welcome. There's lots to examine next time though, so looking forward to it. Yeah, I shall end the stream now.